India charts its course over the next 25 years, a new era of industrial transformation is taking shape, powered by clean energy. And at the heart of this evolution is the need for world-class ecosystems that can support innovation, investment, and global competitiveness. So it's time now to hear from a key industry voice on India's industrial future. So to do the introductions, let's give a very warm welcome back to Anisha.
Okay, thanks Laura for that introduction. Without taking much more time, let me welcome on board my next set of panelists. Dr. P. Anbalagan, he's the Secretary, Industries Government of Maharashtra. He's of course the I.A.S. as well. Mr. Tajpur Sampath Kannan, Managing Director, Vitpark Private Limited, as well as Prasanna Sarambale, CEO Data Center Business at Sterling and Wilson. Hi gentlemen, thank you so much for making time for us. Hi.
Hi, sit here.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Ninga modal anda pokkom. Ninga da modal.
Hi.
Yes. I'll sit here. Hold on, 13 minutes.
Okay, so we have heard about the disruption which is happening in supply chain. We have heard about the digital infrastructure taking shape, the physical infrastructure that MMRD and Mumbai is looking at doing. But it's time now to figure out how industries are going to play a role in this and what exactly is needed to kind of bring that kind of spur as far as Industry 4.0 is concerned. Before I come to you, Doctor, I just want to bring on board Mr. Kannan as well as Mr. Sarambale and try and understand from them, from the industry point of view, what are the big barriers you believe which are limiting the growth, if I must say, as far as the scale of new gen industries is concerned? What is your wish list like if you had to put something to Doctor right here?
Yeah. As a semiconductor manufacturing industry, it's a new era of industry to our nation. We need to develop our skill set. Initially, we need our skill set, skilled engineers, trained engineers to scaling up the industry for the future of next 25 years. Apart from this, we need uninterrupted power supply. These industries are requiring huge power consumption as well as the water requirement. What are the infrastructure is to be required for these industries in an uninterrupted manner. That is the main thing. And then this industry market is very good. India is having a very good market in this. We have a potential of, you're already importing more than $100 billion value semiconductor chips and allied products last year also. So we have the potential to manufacture and everything. Even we can give employment opportunity for nearly 1 million engineers in India in this sector in the upcoming years.
Okay, so skill set is something that we need to develop, power as well as making sure that the infrastructure is right there because the opportunity is huge as you're talking about. Fair enough. Prasanna, if I had to ask you, what is your wish list or what do you think is the big barrier which is perhaps limiting the scale right now?
So from a data center industry perspective, as the data center industry caters to the digital economy or the digital revolution or the digital world which we exist in today, from an impediments point of view for the industry to flourish to the maximum potential, the digital infrastructure readiness, which is one of the important parameters which we need to look as a country. When I say this, today US, which is the epitome of the digital growth, from a data center industry, it is a 18 gigawatt industry, whereas India is just touching 1 gigawatt. So that's the journey. So digital infrastructure readiness, of course the policy agility in terms of regulatory agility which requires the support for that kind of digital infrastructure growth. And third, maybe in the same lines as semiconductor industry, the talent gap. Because it's when you're talking of the AI infrastructure, the talent gap also needs to be on the similar lines. So the digital infrastructure readiness, the policy agility and the talent gap which needs to be addressed on priority.
Okay, so digital infrastructure, policy gaps as well as the talent gap. Dr. Anbalagan, what would you have to say to the asks that these guys are making? Some of them sound very basic. Power, infrastructure, talent gap, but I'm sure they are a lot more difficult to execute than talk about.
For any, for investment, so you need a basic land and you have an electricity and water. Basically for any manufacturing, by the way. Of course, for a tech-based industries, you'll have a manpower, like skilled manpower, skill set. like I'll just respond to Mr. Kannan's query. Typically, we look at what exactly the power scenario of the state. We have close to around 45,000 megawatt of installed capacity. Roughly around 70 plus is like a thermal, and rest is like hydro, solar, and wind. The government has a massive like transition plan. Maybe in another 3 to 4 years, we will be adding up another 30,000 megawatt in solar alone. And secondly, we will be decentralizing the agricultural power supply. So close to around 16,000 megawatt on a peak time. So that much capacity of the transmission infra will be available for the transportation of the export of the power. So secondly, if we look at like a very typical requirement of a data center or any like new age industries like maybe connectivity, power, maybe downtime, you have like electricity, they say 99.9998. So absolutely, even in entire country, if you look at Mumbai, though it's been serviced by only 2 main lines, one from like Bableshwar, Padga, and another is from Talegaon, Kargar. But still, absolutely, you won't find any issue of power in Mumbai because the redundancy is being also created through a hydro from Koina to Kargar on a Konkan route. So the massive, close to around 1.5 lakh crore is being spent in another 5 to 6 years on a massive electricity infra, basically distribution networks and also transmission networks. So power we will be exporting, so we will be ending up close to around 80,000 megawatt in another 5 to 6 years. A lot of pump storage is also being planned. So probably Maharashtra will be exporting power to all others. Even now we have power supply. Secondly, skill set, if you tell the number, post-metric output of our state is close to 1 million. And we look at the technical graduates which are related with engineering, polytechnic, IT is like a 2 lakh. The skilling is also being taken on a very, very massive scale. The government is planning the mega data center park with 5 gigawatt of like capacity close to Mumbai, where you are also going to get getting a innovation city in 300 to 400 acres. Typically, there are some infrastructural challenges like effluent treatment system, because even like if you look at semiconductors, solar wafer, you need a huge volume of water, and also you also end up with waste.
Correct.
So government is also gearing up to do such sort of like specialized infra in a specialized zone. Like, for example, Nagpur, we are looking at such special infra for that.
Okay, so you're not only looking at expanding, you're making sure that it's sustainable expansion and it's something which is ready to gear up on a very scalable model. But Dr. If I had to ask you, this morning we of course heard from the Chief Minister, we heard from the Deputy Chief Minister, the kind of investments that they're looking at attracting. We are hearing from the semiconductor and the data center industry, but which are the other new age industries that the state of Maharashtra is looking at attracting right now?
So one is like semiconductor and also downstream electronic products, and we have a solar wafer and battery energy storage systems. Majority of them lithium based, and also we are also working with one form, probably non-lithium based battery BESS. The huge storage systems and entire value chain of solar, and entire EV and entire ESDM thing. Of course, semiconductor is a main component. We have 3 to 4 companies signed, and data center close to almost 1 lakh crore we signed an MOU, and there have been various stages of implementation. You name from like starting from apparel, leather, footwear to almost semiconductor. Both like in I would say display, hardcore semiconductor, and also solar wafer, ingots, modules, everything, cells. And also green hydrogen, everyone looks up to the green hydrogen, then like downstream integration with ammonia. And Government of India also has come up with a scheme where like they identify some 11, 12 companies. Probably there will be also off-take agreement with those companies, so that like to begin, to start or to nudge a system that way. So probably Mumbai, Nasik, Pune, and Nagpur, Nasik, these are the centers where like lot of offtake can be taken. Lot of things also been looked up for a storage, transportation of that, typically for a thing. There is also thinking to have a hydrogen hub, or hydrogen probably city. And we see coal is normally the least way of getting a coal's maximum potential is by burning it, like combustion.
Correct.
But now people are going to do, we have like a huge 2 investments signed where like the green steel is going to be produced using a coal gasification. And second is the coal gasification again will end up in a syngas, the entire downstream hydrocarbon basically which you will be otherwise getting from a crude also been signed. So close to 182 billion ESG investment was signed. Out of that, I'm happy to share that close to around 80% of that on onboarded, and 26 companies have been allotted land from Maharashtra Industries Development Corporation. That way the state is geared up to that.
Yeah, because we always hear about all of these MOUs getting signed and there's always that gap in execution, but you're making sure that all the land acquisition and other clearances and issues and ease of business is something which is a priority for the Maharashtra government right now. But, Mr. Kannan, if I had to ask you, as far as semiconductors are concerned, for instance, there's a lot of, investments being put as far as India is concerned in that space. From the demand point of view, are you any bit concerned, or do you think India has huge potential and huge role to play in the global demand and supply chain as well?
No, we don't want to think about the global market. Global is geopolitics and uncertainty. Many things are happening due to that. A lot of things, US and China plus. In India, we have a lot of potential. We have already importing, so we can develop our system. Even we can another 10 semiconductor industries can come up in the country with the fabrication. Yeah.
Okay, clearly, so there's a lot of demand that you really need to look at and not worry about what's happening across the globe because it's outside your control.
No, we don't want to bother about outside control. India has the potential. We can make our own Make in India chips. It will be a sustainable chips for our entire system. We can make our chips. We will be thriving on this.
Perfect. When do you see that happening by?
In Maharashtra, we will be going to give our first chip on 2027.
Okay, so 2027, perhaps when we meet in a couple of years, we'll be,
Yes.
you can bring around that chip with yourself and we can
Yes.
probably have a look at that as well.
Made in Maharashtra.
Yes, absolutely made in Maharashtra. Prasanna, but if I had to ask you, data center is the new buzzword in town, right? Everyone is talking about setting one in India, but with the kind of disruptions that we're seeing in industry, whether it's AI-led, whether it's tariff-related, do you really think Indian industry is geared up for that and manage the disruptions?
For sure. I think if you look at even the Asia Pacific countries, what India's data center capacity today, of which 60% is Maharashtra for strategic reasons, has been the infrastructure what is being made is of all global standards as we currently make data centers for Microsoft or many of the hyperscalers. They are of the same standards which are globally practiced. So from the readiness of the industry or the way we are gearing up to have this digital infrastructure, I don't see any variance in what is being made in India, which is different from what it is in any other countries globally. So I personally feel I think it is not a challenge at all. The point is now as we move from 1 gigawatt to a 3 to 5 gigawatt, the scalability which is required across the country and especially in Maharashtra, we just need to see how the talent nurturing is done because this is high power and high cooling requirements for new age GPUs which are coming. So that is also getting worked on, but I think we'll overcome that also very shortly. I think we are geared up for that.
Okay, so we're geared up for that. But before I just wrap up the conversation, last word from you, Doctor. We're talking about how the new age industries are likely to look like in 25 years. What's your own vision for that? And if you had to make a pitch to, let's say, the private sector right now to come and invest in Maharashtra, what do you think is the USP that you're offering versus other states?
See, basically, now, as far as incentive is concerned, I think everyone offers the almost by and large same.
What are you doing differently in execution?
Secondly, but capacity to honor the commitment. Capacity to honor the commitment is with our state. That is what I want to say. Secondly, the robust infra and skill set is there. And we will also put up a policy which is like very simple to understand. And we need to bring in lot of like very simple compliances. Basically, there is a pre-commissioning compliance, post-commissioning compliance. If you look at like Government of India is also looking at that. Basically, otherwise, bring in the best ecosystem. And you have a policy backing and continuity in policy and whatever commitments given by the sovereign has to be honored and absolutely with the skill set which the state boasts, we don't foresee any issues on that.
Okay, clearly they're very confident on every front, whether it's ease of doing business, investments, land acquisition, as well as the skill set. Maharashtra has the capability of doing that. We're just waiting for the investments to then happen and the execution as far as 2027 of the semiconductor is concerned. Thank you, gentlemen, for making time and speaking with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.